Hi, this is Jerry. Welcome to Solar Insider USA. Welcome to my second video in the series on solar. As always, if you like this content or what I'm doing, please hit the like button wherever it is, somewhere down here. Please subscribe to help support this channel. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them in the comment section. I'll read them and respond as best as I can. So in this next video, I'm going to talk about is kind of what the next step is and what the process should be in going solar. So, if you've decided, hey, I want to go solar, there are some things that you need to do before you decide. And I'm going to discuss those in this video. There's a couple things that are critical to understand. Number one is to understand what your system size needs to be. How many panels do you need? And the first thing you need to do is determine what your yearly consumption is. Not having your monthly information is very critical because it does show you kind of your trends. But you'll see this video that I'm going to put in here that kind of shows one of our customers and kind of how we design the system. But the first thing you need to do is decide, okay, look at your bills and decide how big of a system do I need. The sample that I have here, this example that I have is a customer that their yearly consumption was about 6,900 kilowatt hours a year. So that's how we designed the system. The second thing is to look at your roof section and understand, okay, where can I put the panels? There are some things that definitely help the production. South-facing roof sections. Believe it or not, west-facing roof sections tend to produce a little bit better than east-facing roof sections, but a lot of it depends on what part of the country you're in as well. So you can have a heat map, and I'm going to show you that here in just a second with an insert that I'm going to put in. The other thing that you need to consider is how much are you going to pay for this system. Typically, most solar companies, almost every solar company that I've ever known of, charges by the watt. So if your system is, let's say, for example, a 10,000 kilowatt system or 10 kilowatt system, 10,000 watts, then you're going to pay a certain amount per watt. So for example, right here, you'll see, 10,000, at, let's say, $3.50 a watt. That's a $35,000 system. I'll put the math up on the board. You can kind of see it here. So those are some of the things that you need to understand. Shading is another big deal. Does my property have big trees that could produce shading? Again, they will do what they call an irradiance map, and it looks at not just the number one, the angle of your roof, how steep your roof is, where your roof is located, any obstructions on your roof, the way your roof is situated, north, south, east, west, and if you have any potential shading. It's not an exact science. You can see in this picture here that this example that I have is that the trees were drawn in, and then there's an estimate on how tall those trees might be. So that kind of limits the accuracy a little bit. So there's going to be some inaccuracies in this whole process. All right, so I've got some slides here that we're going to discuss. So let's go ahead and jump into them, and then I will answer some questions at the very end. So this is a customer that we had a couple years ago that asked us to design a system for their house. The first thing we did was look at their total usage for the year. So if you see right here at the top, they used 6,942 kilowatt hours for the year. And we broke it down by month, and you can kind of see January is about 467 kilowatt hours, February 410, and you kind of see as the months went into spring and summer, their consumption increased to where they actually had a high in August of 1,039 kilowatt hours, and then in September it starts dropping back down again. So the total usage for that year was 6,942 kilowatt hours. Now, that doesn't mean that they need a 6,900 kilowatt system. That just means that we need to design a system that would offset that, whether it was going to be 100%, 90%, 80%, etc. This was just the starting point. What we did was when we designed the system, one of the things that you can see here in this slide is the blue is the loan payment. So they have a consistent loan payment throughout the year, as you can see here from the blue. The orange, you can see in some months they would actually have less of a utility payment in these months. For example, in February, their utility payment would actually be less than the loan payment by about $5 or $6. March, same way, April, and then you can start seeing as they go into summer, their utility consumption increased drastically, and so they would actually had a lot higher utility payment, but their loan payment stays the same. It stays consistent throughout the year. This is what solar can do for you. And if you look at it from the year to year payments, for 1 year, the utility payment was actually going to be $830.90, but their loan payment was $659.88. So even though there might have been a couple months where they paid more for their loan payment, they're paying that loan payment consistently throughout the year, and they're not having the fluctuations of the larger payments that they would have with the utility. The other thing that we show customers is this is kind of a long-term payment. If you look at the blue line, over 25 years, their loan payment stays the same. In this case, it's about $54, $55, something like that, month over month. And you can start seeing it about 5 years. You can start seeing that there's a separation. This utility estimate is based on an average of 4 or 5% every year increase in utility payments. They could be more than that, but you can start seeing that at about 5 years there's a significant savings over what they would have paid, which is the orange line going up. This is what their utility payments would be over the next 25 years versus their loan payment over 25 years. And at some point, if this payment got paid off sooner than 20 years, 25 years, then there would be no payment and they would actually be getting pretty much free electricity. The next step in the process in designing a system is doing what they call a heat map or an irradiance map, which is basically looking at the roof section and seeing where the panels would be best suited to go. This is something that, if you're a homeowner, you really want to understand and know, hey, what section of my roof is best, and do I have obstructions, things that are going to limit the solar. This is just kind of giving you an idea of what some of the programs out there can do as far as deciding, how to use solar or where solar should go, how your roof would handle solar and be the most productive. And then finally, in this one job, on this customer here, you can just kind of see this is their production over the year. So it pretty much mirrors the same as their bill. You can see your solar production is lower in the winter months. It gets really high in the summer months, then it starts going down again. This is very typical. So these are just some things to kind of see and take into consideration when you're deciding if you want to go solar or not.
All right, so okay, so as you saw some slides, there was some data. Now, to kind of wrap it up, but just to kind of emphasize the things that you need to understand. Number one, look at your total consumption. Okay, so what's my consumption for the year? In this case, it was 6,942 kilowatt hours. Then you need to kind of understand, hey, how big is my system size going to be? So you take, for example, let's say it's 320 watt panels. You divide the 6942 by the 320, and that gives you 21.7 panels, so about 22 panels. If you are looking at larger panels or more productive panels, so 350s, 400s, understand that sometimes a 400, while it might seem like a good deal, the price per watt on a 400 panel is significantly more than the 320. So even if you have to add a couple extra panels for the 320s versus getting a 400 watt or 450, it's just basic math. But you understand that those are going to impact the bottom line of your system. The other thing too is as you're deciding to go solar, you have to really think about the future. So if you are going to do anything as far as increasing your consumption moving forward, so you're going to add a Tesla. Let's say you want to add a Tesla or a Leaf or something like that, an electric car, and you don't increase your design by 5 or 6 panels, 20, 25%, then you're going to not cover your electrical consumption like you think you're going to. if you're going to add a hot tub, a pool, anything that's going to increase your consumption, you need to take that into account now while you're designing the system. It's cheaper now to add a couple extra panels, 4, 5, 6 panels, than it is to do it later. The other thing that will also impact you that you need to understand is that if I add something that increases my consumption, or I do something that increases my consumption, then I also am going to limit, or I'm going to reduce the amount of credits I'm getting from the utility. So that's going to impact as your bill as well. So those are things to take into consideration as you move forward with your solar. I hope this video has been insightful. I hope it answers some questions. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it. Help support my channel as I create more videos. And I appreciate you watching this. Thank you very much.